I'm Gaurav Raj. I'm the head of partnerships and product here at Reworked AI.
My name is Fred. I'm one of the co-founders at Rework.ai.
I'm Hunter. I'm a business development manager and strategic partnerships manager at PCM Integrations.
Just like getting the data, the correct data is important as well.
But remember,
once you have this, you're good.
You're not the speed to lead on that. The speed to call that lead. The reason the roofer or the trade, they want to call very quickly because they know they're in a race.
Yeah,
right.
There's 5 other companies that are calling there too. The first one that gets that homeowner on the phone probably has the highest chance of winning, right? So when you're doing the opportunity finder with us and you're mailing potentially with PCM integrations, Postcard Mania, that customer is not demonstrating intent. Demand, yes, but not intent. So your letter's going to show up there, or your reach out, whether you're texting or phone or whatever, PCM is a part of that as well. You're going to get there first and alone.
Yep, and in multiple places.
Yeah, but yes, that letter, that information, that education for that homeowner you're not competing with 5 other roofers chasing that one nut.
Right.
So there's a difference, right? I mean, yes, it's important,
Right.
but it's also important to be intentional to make sure you've got your processes and your mailing, you're reaching out, you're filling that pipeline all the time. I don't care if it's winter. Winter time is a time to think about spring. It's a time to think about, be informative. Tell the consumers how to clean their gutters. Tell the consumers, just give them some tidbits. On the internet, when you're doing things, they say give 80% away for free and charge for 20.
Yeah.
Give it for free. Talk to them about what habits are going on. Ice is coming. Spring is coming. Get ready. So you can be more personal. You can be more connected to even if that doesn't become a customer right now, mark my word, when you informing and sharing, when they're ready to buy, they're calling you.
Yeah.
Right. So being proactive than being reactive. No, yeah, totally.
I would also say just real quick, because I know you're about to move on, is on our side, like you create that design, you set up as a template, and it's there. Unless you want to change the design, you don't have to think about that anymore.
Oh,
It's ready to go. The template's ready. You use the personalization from the data to, we call it merge. You merge that information onto the card in live time. You don't have to remake a card every single time unless you plan on changing the main core dynamics of the card, like where your message is, where your logo is, things like that. So you kind of set yourself a template, and then it's done.
Right.
And you don't have to, next time you want to send out, you don't have to create a brand new card unless you want to change what the card actually looks like. So it's very easy after you get it set up the first time. Then you're just grabbing data, placing the order, grabbing data, placing the order, or you can automate that whole process, which makes it even easier. And then it is a lot like you mentioned with the PPC, where it just runs in the background. That's the beauty of where direct mail is going, and kind of what my department at PCM Integrations focuses on is that future of direct mail. It's been around forever. It's never going to go anywhere. But what will it evolve into? And we're making sure that we're at the forefront of pioneering what that looks like with all the features and tech that we create, or the partnerships that we form with companies like yourself.
Well, don't say it's not going anywhere, because Denmark, or Holland, they just did away with, no, it's Denmark. They did away with their post office.
Really?
But the country and the society was so high tech and everything was digital. There was no volume anymore, right? So not in our lifetime, at least.
All right. So you guys answered part of my next question, which is the actual dollars.
Yeah.
Right. So no platform fees. They get to play with it. They can sort of simulate, right, how that design would look like. And so how would this? So let's say I'm a mid-sized roofer, because this is a legit question, right? So they do about 10 million a year. They have about 30 people, right? How does Betty and Postcard Mania integrations come together, and what does that cost look like? So they spend about $15,000 to $20,000 right now a month.
Okay.
So the question, so it's a 2-part question. One is, a full replacement of their current marketing channels, which they're not seeing too much ROI. It's very inconsistent. So part A full replacement of their current system to Betty plus PCMI, and part B is a bit of both, right? They continue to do what they do, but they also want to experiment and test out some of the budget with Betty and Postcard Mania. So how does that combination?
Yeah, I mean, my first comment is, don't be rash.
Yep.
Right.
I'm glad you said it. I was going to.
Let's crawl, walk, run.
Yep.
You come to rework.ai, you can book a call, we can chat, me or one of the team. We can further answer questions and make sure that you understand exactly what you're getting. Fundamentally, we charge $1.79 for a roofing opportunity, which has demonstrated a roof at or near failure and a homeowner that fits the profile of a consumer that can and looks like a consumer that wants to protect their largest investment. So that's for a roof replacement. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention roof rejuvenation, which is a whole industry I had no idea about a year and a half. This is for primarily asphalt shingle roofs that are midlife. They're not failure, they're not brand new, but there are many companies out there that have developed really cool solutions and applications that will dramatically extend the life of an asphalt shingle roof. Some are claiming they can make it limitless life, but at least 5 years. So you can get a roof replacement or a rejuvenation opportunity. These are $1.79, and it seems really cheap if you're looking at the cost of a lead.
Yeah.
But you're going to need to get 1,000 or 2,000, and you're going to want to think about where you want to go. I always encourage people, try to look at a county. Because people are like, well, I want to go to this city or this zip code. Stop. You're just introducing a personal bias of what you think is in that zip code. When you ask for a county, the first thing that Betty's going to do is going to look at all the zip codes in the county and say, what has the highest percentage of best chance opportunities? Looking at education levels, home value levels, renters versus owners, right? You think, wow, this is a really good area, but there's 34% renters. Don't waste your time. Go to the one that has 3% renters, right? All that's taken into account. So you're going to buy, let's say you buy 1,000 opportunities, right? $1.79. You have the opportunity to append phone number and email. You only pay for the phone numbers and emails that come back positive, right? Then you're able to take that information, and in this case, you're going to Postcard Mania, integrations, and you're able to just integrate that information into the workflow there, and that takes hours, right? It takes us about 3 to 4 hours to return the information because of the computer, the algorithms that we have to run, and the information that we have to pull. We have to talk to EagleView, we have to talk to our vendors, but it's 3, 4, 5, 6 hours.
So basically a day, during the day.
During the day.
And then once you get that, then you send out the mail piece, right? So set the design aside, say you've already got the design ready, right? Then you're going to send those out. And depending on the product you send, whether it's a postcard, we got 3 different sizes, small, mid, and large. And then, or you do a letter, it ranges anywhere between 70 cents to, maybe $1.30 per, right? So then you've got that and you send it out.
Do you have any volume discounts there?
We do have volume discounts, of course, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so someone who is looking, he said 1,000 to 2,000, so price will probably be right around in there. But your example that you're talking about from the client, I think you had like $10K budget.
Yeah. Alan,
right?
This is for you because you send out about 10,000. So yeah, I'll ask this question on behalf of you. So I hope you're happy.
And one of the really interesting things that these guys do is, and help me with this, but a client can order a larger number, and you'll warehouse it. You'll pay for the stock, and then you'll warehouse it and set up a mailing schedule so they're paying for postage as it's going out. So you're able to, correct me if I'm wrong, you're able to get some volume discounts if you're going to buy a larger, and then you're managing, so you're getting a little unit cost savings there, and you're managing your cash flow on that postage. It seems reasonable when one says it, but I don't know if everybody does that.
Yeah, there's a couple ways you can do it. Either way, it's going to be volume based in terms of like what your per piece is. Okay. You can definitely phase it out and send it out in waves, so that's you only charge when you're actually sending. So that helps. So maybe you send 2,000 a day, and in a week you send in another 2,000, or 2 weeks from now, whatever your frequency is. And then you're just kind of paying, as you go, just like you mentioned. Or you can just do it all at once. It's up to that individual company and how their finances and everything operate and what's best for them.
But they're also working with your sales team to come up with the best solution.
100%. Yeah. You would work directly either with me or somebody on my team to go through that campaign, understand what's most successful for you and what makes the most sense. And I like what you said at the very beginning. Let's be rash. Don't rip your entire budget that you're doing now. Stop everything and say, hey, Fred, hey, Hunter, let's do direct mail, because
ease into it, baby.
That would just be like kind of business suicide.
Yeah.
You might lose all, obviously you're going to lose everybody leads that you're getting from any of those other sources. So I would take a portion of it, 10%, 15%, depending on your budget, and test it out, right? Yeah. And I mentioned earlier, omni-channel is so powerful. Add this in as a part of it. Don't think that you're just going to hit the brakes on everything else and do this and it's going to be a miracle shot, because we got to be, rational.
Right. All right. No, yeah, totally. I think we have that answer in terms of, roofers ease into it. Now let's get into the accuracy. We now know the dollars, but how accurate is it, Fred? What are you seeing in terms of the roofers who are currently using Betty, in terms of the aspect of bad roofs and great homeowners that the slogan is? How accurate is Betty, and what are the conversion rates that roofers are seeing?
So let's talk about the conversion rates first. That's something everybody wants to hear. Hunter had shared some ROIs and response rates. What we're seeing both in our testing and what we're seeing for customers now is they're seeing anywhere from a doubling and more their inquiries, right? So whatever they were getting before from direct mail, or whatever their process was, it's doubling, which sounds good, right? 2 times is good. Yeah. Some are getting more, but I don't want to get expectations too high, right? So that's important. But what's really important is the conversions.
Yep.
Right? So before I was getting 50 inquiries. Now I got 100. Okay, good. Now if your conversion rate was 25% on the 50 and you kept the 25% on the 100, okay, so it's doubling. Mm-hmm. But as I was saying earlier, the informational, educational, and credibility aspect of what we're offering, because of the demand and the knowledge beforehand of the demand and how you can address that with your call to action, people are seeing the conversion rates double, 2.5, right? And that's the money.
Yeah.
Right? An inquiry and $5 will get you a cup of coffee. Well, maybe not even $5 anymore. But it means nothing. It's an opportunity to sell, right? So hopefully you have the right inspector, the right salesperson, the right price, the right product. You got to go sell. That's the cornerstone of why these people set these businesses up, because they can go sell and put on a great roof. Go do your business. But because you're identifying a demand that the customer didn't realize was there, they're getting the benefit of the doubt, saying, well, of course I'm going to go with this young man. He came out here and pointed out a problem with my home that I didn't even know I had.
Yeah.
So, accuracy is, we don't have a metric in place for the accuracy, but I have yet to hear from the several million that we've sent out, and these are all getting, everybody that tests our product first, the first thing they do when they get the opportunity list is they look at the first 10 on there and pull up Google and be like, what does this look like, right? And, Google images are free. So take it away. A lot will say, hey, I just want 100. I just got an email yesterday. I just need a couple. I want to drive and go check them out. Okay, well then just go buy 50 and go check out the first 10, right? I mean, you can go do it. But we're not hearing any of that. We're not hearing, hey, here's this picture of this roof that you sold me $1.79, and the roof is fantastic, but the homeowner's broke, right? So we're not seeing any of those accuracy issues at all. That's the least of my concerns. I put the hand in the fire on that one. But people got to go sell, right? They still have to enact their business processes to get in front of the customer, to get their message in front of the customer, and then sell.
I mean, that's kind of the same with like direct mail. You know, you're going to get like I mentioned, statistically around 5 to 9% response rate. Well, what is a response? So it can be a call in, it can be a website search, it could be a Google search, it could be scanning a QR code if you have one on your
Mail.
card or mailer. You know, it could be any of those things, and it still comes down to the same thing. You have to close them, right? I can help you generate leads, but then after
Help you generate interest, but you still got to close.
After it comes in, you got to do something with it, you
Right.
know. And the ones that do, which obviously every business owner wants to, that's where the ROI comes in. That's where the money comes in. You're not going to close everybody. I think we all know that, but it's taking that action after you get it. You know, the marketing piece is to get you the opportunity, and then it's on you to do everything with it after that.
Why now? Why should, like, I get a lot of questions. They've heard of direct mail, but why to do it now when there's so much AI, there's so much digital
Fatigue.
Right.
Digital fatigue is why. Everybody's numb to scrolling on social medias and seeing all the ads and sponsors constantly, right? So people are ignoring it more and more at an increasing rate, where people are engaging and responding to the direct mail in the same increase.
Well,
right?
and let's pull on that thread a little bit more. The AI overview on a typical search is decimating the PPC.
Yep.
Right? I search for a question, on Google. I'm getting the overlay first.
Yep.
I'm getting information. I'm becoming smarter on a subject versus having to click and go follow and look at. And, I was going to give a more pointed answer, although Hunter's is probably better. Why now? What are you waiting for?
Yeah, why not?
To your example earlier, spending serious money, inconsistent results, unhappy, no, it's not working. We're not advocating you give everything up. You just, the best thing you can do for marketing and outreach is have multiple different ways to do it. And if you don't do it, your competitor will. And if your competitor does it, they're going to eat up the demand before you have an opportunity to even sell. So why not right now?
I agree with that. If you're not doing it, your competitor is. Yep. Especially more and more, right? And maybe you're doing it and your competitor's not. So now you're standing out. Not only in the first option are you behind, but now you might be ahead. So just think with that in terms of like why you should. Is like, well, if I'm not, someone else is, and if I am, maybe somebody else is not.